the most offensive part was that she's wearing men's suits. Just kidding. The most offensive part is that CGI. Or was it the comedy? It doesn't bring warm feelings to my heart that I have to do this. I just jumped on the She-Hulk bandwagon in terms of not attacking it, but rather giving it positive praise and love. Welcome to my She-Hulk episode 3 review, by the way. You're watching Voice of the Fat Man. Just keep tuning in, guys. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. But it really is really annoying me that as soon as I jump on this wagon, as soon as I'm like, I'm ready to do this, they put out an episode like this. An episode that is so repugnant that from now on when I watch this series, I'm going to make sure to have a bucket for my throwing up. That is what I'm going to do, because it is just disgusting what I view in this thing. Now let's get into the nitty and the gritty. Let's break this bad boy down. So it starts off with She-Hulk entering her law office and hanging out and getting into, both being introduced to both the A and B parts of the stories. Now, this already is a catastrophe because you can't help but notice in the well-lit law firm, particularly her office, how bad the CGI is. And the CGI seems to be getting worse. So that's the first crime, which brings me to actually the worst crime of it. It's her suit. Now, ultimately, I understand why she has to wear an overgrown suit when she's in human mode, because later on, she'll Hulk out, become the beautiful, voluptuous, filled out She-Hulk, and then therefore fill the suit. However, that would mean that when she becomes She-Hulk, her suit should fit her fine. But instead, we've got this baggy thing that is just not attractive and disgusting on every level. What I'm saying, Marvel, is I don't know if you're trying to make a statement by putting her in a men's suit or just trying to make it baggy to be like, we don't want you looking at her body or thinking about her body. It comes down to this. Is it so hard that I ask you to give your character clothes that fit them? Like, your directors or your producers couldn't make that stylized choice and be like, I think she should wear clothes that fit her. That didn't occur to you? But let's move on. Let's just say this is a honest mistake, whatever. You made a faux pas in the creation of your show. Everyone does it. It's all good. But it is utterly distracting, and it really takes away from what they were trying to do. Drop info and information for our plot lines for our episode, and to actually make jokes. The jokes didn't land because she is so distracting. I'm like, I don't know where I am right now. Now, I did appreciate her break the third wall on the way to the prison when she, and actually I'm going to point out that most of her best moments in this episode is when she's Jennifer Walters. Definitely not She-Hulk. That I actually really enjoyed all the prison stuff and the parole hearing because she's Jennifer Walters and I don't have to see some weird Shrek woman hovering around people. It's just so amateurish. But I did enjoy that part where she breaks the third wall in her car and she's like, Wong's gonna guess the period. It's cute. It's lovable. I'm actually into it. It's some of the charming comedy. What I did not find comedic and did not think landed well was the very childlike comedy that was presented with the shapeshifter. The older lady who's a shapeshifter who's pretending to be Megan Thee Stallion, her running around and doing stupid shenanigans. It was not landing. And so here's another problem, and this is gonna harken back to the end of this episode too. That the problem is that MCU does such a horrible job, with the exception of Loki himself, such a horrible job on Asgard and everything going on in Asgard, constantly bringing it up, making it the source of people's powers, making it the source of people's plots, is a mistake. And so this woman, this elven shapeshifter, light elf, would be interesting in a normal Asgardian thing, but New Asgard is not like that. If you watched Taika Waititi's mistake that he calls a film, Asgard is not a bunch of warriors, a fishing community of ancient Vikings, badassery and all that stuff. They're just normal people. They're children or normal kids. It's just such a horrible rendition of New Asgard. Now, in the comics, after Ragnarok, when Thor comes back, New Asgard is created when Thor goes to Fort Knox, robs it of all its gold, and uses it to forge a city which he magically enchants to float over the skies of Oklahoma. It's a city of gold for his people to live. That's not how Asgard is now. Just so bad. And so we don't like it being referenced. I don't like it being referenced. The way this show is getting reviewed, this probably didn't help it in any way. So we've got our light elf problems, which did not land at all. And I honestly cannot stand her old lawyer friend, and this is what it is. This brings this SJW argument in full and center. The man is such a misogynist that one, maybe a better actor could have pulled it off, but he's not very funny at all. But it's a constantly reminder that the show is firmly rooted in a men versus women situation, and he represents me and other males. He's here to hate on us. He's here to tell us that we're shitty. Look at how we date. Look at how we behave. We're horrible. Isn't Jennifer amazing? You guys are like this dude. I don't personally care for it. I was so happy when he left the show, and now that he returned, I'm like, we've got all that, and that's actually all B storyline. Our A storyline is the trial of the Abomination, which really landed well. I liked almost everything about it. Yeah, I've got only nitpicks. Like, for instance, I find like the Abomination in the actual Incredible Hulk movie was so scary. He was like a demon presented on Earth. I did think they should have added his little thingies, but he doesn't have them originally, but he looks like a demon, man. And then when they have him transform in this, he looks like the least menacing thing there ever was. He's like cute or something. Like, you want to give him a hug. And you want to be like, you want to play with the kitty, and you give them your cat or something like that, because they look cute for a picture on Instagram or something. But I love the whole Wong situation, coming in and out. Jennifer Walters navigating legal issues, very into that, and I think that landed hard. Problem is that the episode then deteriorates back into comedy and more bad CGI. Culminates in they do something that makes me want to stop watching this show and everything it will ever produce on the strength of it. And so, as you know, I'm kind of a comic book purist. I'm a pure guy, right? And so I want my characters to at least look, feel, and the same energy that they had from the comic books. And so they have a group of idiots with neon colored weapons, no costumes, bungling fools appear before her. And it turns out that and I actually for a second go, wait a minute, no, you're not gonna. And I was like, not the Wrecking Crew. This cannot be the Wrecking Crew. And guess what, friends? This was the Wrecking Crew. They actually introduced the Wrecking Crew this way. And I gotta say, I love the Wrecking Crew. They're not A-level villains. They're actually thugs who usually are just like up to no good, robbing banks or causing trouble, or they are the henchmen to Loki, very often the Enchantress, stuff like that. They do suggest that they are working for a boss, that there's more going on there. But the mere fact that Marvel messed up this badly, Hawkeye level misstep, that is so offensive. I'm pretty angry at you, Feige. I don't know. Did Feige get sober? My theory is that Kevin Feige, during Phase 4, sobered up. He stopped doing coke or something, and so he's unable to produce the same type of fire he used to be able to. You know what I mean? And so he's just take a snort and come to the office, man. Just get your stuff together, because what you're just with each chapter, you're offending fans more and more. I'm offended more every time you put out a new show or everything or a new movie, and God forbid you mess up Wakanda. That movie looks so good. It has such potential, the love, the magic, the energy. Don't screw it up, man. Don't, or you're gonna get angrier people than me on your ass. So, and then finally, at the real end, at the actual end, Megan Thee Stallion appearing. And I gotta say, if you're gonna invite Megan Thee Stallion on, don't make it gimmicky where she's on for 2 seconds. Give her an actual guest starring role. Make a plot around her. Maybe it should be Megan Thee Stallion who's duped by a shapeshifter. That might have been fun. So we can have more of her one-liners, just more of her presence. That would have been a better use of money and time. And, you know, they twerk for no reason, for essentially no reason. They're like, let's just do it. And I gotta say, the CGI is so bad, that is not something I ever want to see again. And it's not the twerk. Yeah, trust me, if you had a really good CGI, convincing She-Hulk twerking, I'd ask for that every week. That's what I would want to see. Of course I want to see a beautiful creature like She-Hulk is supposed to be twerking. What they gave us, what Marvel ultimately presented for us, was garbage. It's almost it's indefensible. And so I gotta say, I find almost not enough redeeming qualities to preserve this episode. But ultimately, the real question is, what did you think about this episode? Please let me know down in the comments. And remember to keep tuning in to Voice Fat Mantis for more reviews, analysis, shenanigans, and all the nerd news that's fit to print. You better like, share, and subscribe while you're at it, Bucket Boy. Till next time, ciao for now.